and welcome to another video on my healing journey. This one we speak about the emotional, mental, and spiritual side of what I'm doing in my everyday life to help keep me as healthy and as in a more holistic way as possible. When we get sick, the first thing we do is how do I make myself feel better? So we will go for the medicine, we go to the doctor, we go to someone who can help us work out what's wrong with us. That's the first step. But we cannot rely on things and people outside of ourselves for all of our healing because the illness very often has come over time, and we need to ask questions of ourselves such as, why is this happening? Why now? Um, is there something that maybe I have done that has contributed to feeling so bad? And these questions are important, we have to ask them, but then we also have to work at what do we do to change our thought pattern, to change maybe the way we exercise. For example, I'm a sloth of note. I am not athletic. Um, it's not really something I enjoy doing, exercise. So that's a huge thing. Your body needs exercise. It needs to move. It needs those muscles to and joints to be lubricated. It needs bone strength by doing weight bearing exercises or whatever you have to do. And if you take it as human beings, we have walked for miles and miles and miles as nomads in our past, okay, or the history of humanity, right? Or we've been farmers, um, or we didn't have things like cars and TVs to take us around or to show us the world. If we wanted to see the world, we had to do something about it. So we've become very sedentary in the way we live. So exercise is a huge thing. Another thing is the way we think. Our thought pattern. What makes us a more positive person? What makes us a more negative person? And a lady called Deb Shapiro, I've got a book of hers here, Your Body Speaks Your Mind. It's a book that I absolutely love. It'll tell you, like what parts of your bodies do for you and an emotional and spiritual level. So, for example, it's my vertebrae that keep breaking. Why? What is it about the backbone? What does the backbone do? The backbone actually holds us upright. What does the skeleton do? The skeleton prevents us from falling into a heap on the floor and becoming an amoeba. So it's about support and about being able to hold yourself in your own space. So according to the Deb Shapiro book, uh, questions such as, um, sorry, I just need to find it now. Um, where am I not feeling supported? So I heard a year, no, it was 5 years. It doesn't matter. It was 3 years after my husband died that um, I was diagnosed. Something like that. Anyway, that's beside the point. Did I now feel less support because my husband had died? You know, did I feel that I had maybe relied on that outside support too much? And the other kind of questions um, was, do I feel unable to support myself? And there's things like I'm the youngest child. So as the youngest child, the oldest child in the family learns to do things for themselves. By the time it comes to the youngest child, it's oldest child, please will you help so and so with her shoes for school, or will you help her get her lunch? And so we just think in a different way. No excuses. I'm not doing that. I'm just trying to explain that there are many various things that give us our own personal thought patterns, and we are all going to be different. So that's what I'm trying to get at there. My emotional healing was one that I had to work a lot on, and I will explain now in what ways I did this. Very often we're afraid of our emotions because what if I go mad? Or what if my anger gets so out of control that I do something dangerous to another person? What if I allow my depression to take over? So instead of asking questions, why am I feeling this way? What has contributed to this? Many of us just bury our heads in the sand. Or we go to a therapist and say, make us better, help us out. And very often we don't like what the therapist says, so we don't go back. We're human. So, but these are things we do need to do, is we need to look at ourselves and take responsibility for the feelings we've had, the thoughts we've had, um, or whatever it is. So by looking my fears in the eye, I'm able to say, okay, they're my fears, and they're valid, or this fear has just been something that happened to me maybe in my childhood that now every time there's like a trigger word or something, I will feel that fear. If I don't know myself, how am I ever going to help myself grow as a human being, let alone get better or get healthy? So there's a number of things that um, have contributed to my mental, emotional, and spiritual healing journey in regard to, or with regard to, my disease that I'm currently journeying with. Okay. So one that was very important at the beginning and still is journaling. I'm going to have to get up and get a book. Just hang on. Sorry about that. But I didn't want to start the video again. Hope you understand. So my journal, this particular one is beautiful because the book was actually handmade by a loving friend. And I was able to, and here I write my dreams. I write what happened to me that may be of significance. And what I have found though is very often I don't know how to get the words out. I know what I'm feeling, but I'm not very good at expressing them in words. So a therapist of mine, she's a narrative therapist, well, one of the ladies, well, my therapist that I went to after my husband died, she told me about Zendalas. Now, Zendalas are a mixture between a mandala and a Zendala. A Zendala is squiggles that you do within a square. Excuse me. I'm just going to take a sip of water. And so you do a repetitive pattern, for example, and you'll do it within a very handmade rectangle or square. So now with the Zendala, what you do is you do your circle, which is what a mandala is, it's always in a circle. And then within that, you then divide it up into different patterns in that. And normally you just go into a meditative state. When I say that, I just mean just quiet your mind. You can put music on, or it could be from a dream that you've had and now you want to try and express the dream with the emotions that you were feeling. Any of those things. So I just wanted to share with you some of my Zendalas. For example, when my back broke, um, what was this lady's name? Frida Kahlo. She also had issues with her back after an accident as a child. And this one picture of hers with her back exposed through the front of her body really at that moment at that time spoke hugely to me in an emotional way. And so I did a Zendala, but this one I used color. Zendalas are normally black and white, but you make it yourself. So you can see I've done my vertebra, and then around it I've done various patterns. Most of it is the disease showing up and the way I was seeing the disease and trying to circle the disease and hold it in a place. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, this is, as I said, it's very personal. Um, Other ones that I've done would be more, I can't, Let me just see. These ones are in pencil. Okay, there we go. Right. So just all various different patterns. And each pattern is very freeing, very healing. Well, it is for me. I find it's a fantastic way for me to express emotion. If I've had a nightmare that I don't quite know how to, I don't want to write down the details of it because it makes me uncomfortable. I will try and put it into just these doodles, if you like, and Zen dollars. I did one after my husband died of the two of us as two circles intertwined. And then after he passed away, it was with him cut out, taken out of my life, and the hole that it left for me. And then how that hole eventually needed to be filled up. You know, if I left it always empty, I would always be depressed and sad about it. So it was so helpful. Another thing was going into dream work, which is what I did express. Dream work, Carl Jung described it as dreams are impartial, spontaneous products of the unconscious psyche outside the control of the will. They are pure nature, they show us the unvarnished natural truth, and are therefore fitted as nothing else is to give us back an attitude that accords with our basic human nature. When our consciousness has strayed too far from its foundations and run into an impasse. And so using dreams has been a very helpful way of getting into that part of my unconscious that I don't always, I'm not in touch with. Um, Very often I don't have dreams at all, and the more stressed I am, the more I don't dream actually. The more almost dark it is, or I don't remember the dreams when I wake up. But when I do, there's normally something of significance in that dream that comes up. And there's a friend who has put questions to it. If you look up soul collage um, on the website on Google, soul collage is a beautiful means or tool to also just gently get into that unconscious part of yourself. So there are questions that come with the soul collages that are very helpful when untangling a dream. Then there's painting and sketching. I did mention it in my last video that there's a friend of mine who is an artist and she did lessons. And I find when I'm in a good space, I'm able to do sketches and drawings and water paints. And when I'm in a bad space, I'm not able to. So when I'm in a good space and I'm doing them, then I think to myself, okay, this is good. This is good. I'm having a good day. Then there's counseling. I think counseling should be for all of us. Counseling to work through all the emotion that comes with the illness, no matter what the illness is. Um, I've had a number of counselors who've helped me, which I have discussed before, so I'm not going to go into detail about it. But just to say that um, counseling has been a very important tool for learning to understand myself. Because what happens is the counselor will ask questions, or the therapist will ask questions, which just unlock the thought patterns that may be closing me down or be on, those negative loop thoughts. And then that therapy will help just unlock that loop and disentangle it. I do have a dear friend who was a trauma debriefer. And so when I was first diagnosed, she helped me to work through the trauma. And that was extremely helpful. Those emotions that I didn't know what to do with them, she was able to get me to repeat them over and over and over until I understood what the emotion was. Very helpful. And I also have a spiritual director who every morning we get together um, just virtually on video call. Um, but I'll discuss that in more detail just now. So then we get on to meditation, and I'm going to say prayer and meditation because everyone comes at meditation from a different place, from a different angle, from a different spirituality. And so some people will call their meditation prayer when they silently sit in quiet and contemplate parts of the Bible, parts of the Quran, parts of their holy books, whatever they may be. And then there's also things like centering prayer, where you focus on just one word, and that word can be something like love or peace. And just focusing on the one word becomes like a mantra that then just calms you down. And as you repeat it just quietly in your mind, instead of your head racing after all the thoughts that always happens, just repeating that one word will just bring me back into my body, into this place, into the now, which is what mindfulness meditation does. And there are all different types of prayer and meditation that people use for this. It really is about just um, focusing outside of the selfish me, the small me. Spiritual reading. This does not, when I say spiritual reading, it's not necessarily, I didn't say religious reading. So spiritual reading is anything that helps the spirit, that helps the internal me, the essence of me, right? So books that were lent to me that were extremely helpful. One was called Bone, Dying into Love, and Dying into Life. And this is written by Marion Woodman when she was diagnosed with a form of cancer and how she worked through it. Um, it was very, very helpful, and I read it just after my operation. And another one that a friend gave me was Bernie Siegel, and it's here, Love, what's it called? Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And Bernie Siegel speaks also a lot about the lighter side, learning to laugh at ourselves, learning to find ways to be upbeat, because we need that, you know. Like people look at me and they always say, "Wow, you look great." You know, you don't look sick at all. I mean, okay, now you can see I'm skinny as anything, but they look here, and it's like, you're great. I'm always smiling. I'm feeling good, and that is because of the nutrition and the supplements and the exercise that I struggle with but do. You know, all of that helps keep my body looking good. But this here, this is the strongest detractor, my strongest detractor, I should say. My thought pattern, my anxieties, my fears, my anger, my grief, and all of those. And learning to be light with myself, learning to laugh at myself, learning to um, find something amusing or bright in every day is extremely important to me, because I know that when that happens, when I'm able to find that one joy in the midst of all the CRAP that we have to deal with, um, that one joy can spark and lift me out of a bad place. I have a friend in Belgium, Belgium, who every day, we try every day, we don't always get it right. We have to find five joys in the day before, and use those five joys to remind ourselves that amongst all the daily struggles and challenges, we mustn't forget to look out for the good things that are happening. It could be a friend who just phones us at the right time. It could be a summer fruit like a mango that just lifts your mood. It's like, ah, that was good. That made me feel good. Those are joys. And if we're constantly focusing on the negative and what's wrong with us, and I tell you, I have the total capacity to be a grumpy old woman. Listen, let's not beat about the bush there. But my intention is not to be that grumpy old woman, is not to only see the negative that always comes up so easily and then forget about the joys. So that was Bernie Siegel. He took me down that road. It's very important to look for the miracles in life, those small miracles that happen every single day. Exercise, as I said, it's a difficult one. And in the first year of after breaking my back, exercise was impossible. The pain was agonizing. But slowly but surely, um, I was able to do exercise. Some of the exercise I tried was too rough and a bone compressed. The one in my neck compressed because I was doing biokinetic exercises, and that's happened. And really, all we were doing was trying to strengthen my neck muscles. And what happened was my bone said, I don't like what I'm feeling right now. Oops. All right. So exercise has turned now into slow walks, lazy walks. I used to go to the beach a lot and walk along the seafront with that beautiful sea air and the beautiful view of the crashing waves. But with having transport now, as I told you, this jolly arm doesn't work, and I had to sell my car. So we've had to change tactics. And so I will take a walk around the neighborhood when I'm feeling strong. And one of the joys that comes with that is taking a walk to our local health shop. It's about a 20-minute walk there. Getting there and having one of their fresh fruit juices, one of their delicious smoothies, a lovely treat, and then a slow walk back home. And it turns into a whole hour usually of just gentle exercise. But I'm doing the exercise with a treat halfway through to keep me motivated. Find what works for you. Remember, we're all different. Then there's also aromatherapy. Aromatherapy for me has been very important. My nose works very well, and so I'm very often led by scent. And so smelling a happy smell like sweet orange, one of my favorite because it just lifts. It's such a joyful aroma. And we've made up a number of roll-ons, um, various types that help with various issues or emotional issues or whatever. And I will take whichever one sparks joy for me on that particular day. I'm using sparks joy a lot. I must stop. And I give myself a hand massage. So I just rub it on my hands. There's no technique needed. It really is about just a bit of self um, self-soothing, I suppose you could call it. Um, it works, and then just gently massaging around the center of my hand, and then up my fingers. I can put on some gentle music, some lovely. Normally, it's music like piano music or classical music, something that's soft and soothing. Um, and giving myself a hand massage at the same time, I find it very soothing, very relaxing. So I don't use a technique. If you're an aromatherapist and you have your own technique, that's even better. If you go for aromatherapy massages, ask them to teach you a simple technique to see you from one massage to the next. Those are all ways you can help yourself. Um, and then time out. I've struggled to relax. Struggled to take time out from work because I always feel that if I don't work, then you do the work, the money follows kind of idea. So it's been a mantra of mine for years and years, much to the dismay of my husband and children. But what's happened with this is that by the afternoon I'm exhausted. So my business partner, Nofundo, she's made a rule which I'm happy to follow. I work in the mornings and I work hard in the mornings. And then I have lunch, and then after lunch, I have a rest. Most days I fall asleep. which tells me that my body needs it, and that's important. On the days when I have more energy, I will have my lunch hour, and if I feel like going some more, I'll do more work, but I'll just do the quieter work, the preparing for videos, or the social media um, ads, or anything like that, and work it out around that to make sure that I have time out and take time just to give my body a break. It becomes important. Positive people, I know I've mentioned this before, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but my friends and family support me. They tell me, you got to do what is right for you. It's your body, it's your life. And you've got no idea how much I value that. And when I'm not having a good day, they don't say, well, you see, I told you so, you should just do ABC. I go, I'm so sorry you're having such a bad day. Is there anything I can do to help make it better? And those kind of positive people are very helpful. So I have my tribe, I call them. I don't know if they'd like the word, but they are my tribe. And I want to just bring in here depression, because at the moment, for about a year now, I've really been struggling with depression. I choose not to use antidepressants. It's a personal choice, um, but it's just because I don't like being out of my body. I don't know how to say it, and I don't really know because I haven't tried it, right? But what I do is I take St. John's wort. There's the St. John's wort. I've started that, and I do feel the difference. I feel that I'm able to think more clearly, and I also make sure that every day I have a routine. I have a morning routine of waking up, getting out of bed, gentle exercises, guided meditation, and then speaking with my spiritual director, where we do readings, we discuss the day before, are there any issues that have come up, and all of that takes about an hour and a half. But it sets the tone for the rest of my day, and I'm finding that doing the routine helps keep the depression at bay. It's what works for me. So, having said that, I've told you mm, what I've found over the years, and how I now lead my life. But I'm telling you right now, some of it you'll maybe look at and say, ugh, no, that doesn't suit me. But find those things that do suit you, whether it's reading, whether it's watching funny videos, whether it's talking with a friend, whether it's doing exercise in a gym, whatever you need to do, I strongly urge you to do it. Having said that, I thank you again. If you've listened to the end of this video, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have found some help in it, please can I ask that you give it a thumbs up, that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and that you click the notification bell. I still will be, I'll do videos every Thursday, and it is around healing journeys, right? Whether it's mine, I've told my story, but my story continues. But there are other healing journeys that I will be discussing, ones that come up for me, uh, maybe things that have helped me. I might go into more detail. If there's something you'd like me to go into more detail about, ask with pleasure. I'll do it for you. So having said that, I say thank you for listening, and I wish you a good week, and hopefully we'll see you this time next week. Bye for now.